Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you haven't played any game on this list yet, go turn on your console right now. These games are so addictive that I have to warn you, go spend time with them. Each one is worth every cent, every minute of your life. They're perfect in their own way and show exactly why playing video games is one of the best things ever.
God of War 3. Man, let's start with a literal punch in the face. God of War 3 is the definition of epic. I remember the first time I saw Kratos climbing Mount Olympus on the back of Gaia, my jaw just hit the floor. This isn't just an action game, it's a spectacle. The scale is so massive it's hard to wrap your head around it even today. When you're fighting these gods that are the size of actual skyscrapers, you really feel that raw, unadulterated rage that defines Kratos in this original trilogy. The combat is just chef's kiss. So fluid, so violent, and every hit feels like it has the weight of a planet behind it. I've spent countless hours mastering those combos with the Blades of Exile, and honestly, no game since has quite captured that same level of cinematic brutality. The way the camera zooms out to show you just how tiny Kratos is compared to the Titans, and then you just go in there and start wrecking everything, it's pure adrenaline. It's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece for me because it doesn't waste a single second of your time. It's a non-stop thrill ride from the opening cinematic to the final bloody confrontation. If you want to feel like an absolute godslayer, this is the one you gotta play right now.
Mafia Definitive Edition. Now, let's slow things down a bit and talk about some class. Mafia Definitive Edition is one of the best remakes I've ever seen. They didn't just slap on new textures, they rebuilt the soul of the game. Playing as Tommy Angelo, a simple cab driver who gets sucked into the mob life in Lost Heaven, is such a grounded and emotional journey. The atmosphere of the 1930s is just perfect. The jazz on the radio, the heavy handling of those classic cars, and the rain-slicked streets at night. It feels like you've stepped straight into a Scorsese movie. I really appreciate how this game focuses on its story. It's not a bloated open world where you're distracted by a million icons. It's a tight, focused narrative about loyalty, family, and the price you pay for that life. The gunplay feels heavy and dangerous. Every shootout is intense because you're not a superhero. You're just a guy with a Tommy gun trying to survive. I spent so much time just driving around, soaking in the vibe of the city. It's a classy, brutal, and incredibly polished experience that reminds us that sometimes a great story is all you need to be completely hooked. Dragon Age Inquisition. Alright, for my fellow RPG lovers, Dragon Age Inquisition is a massive time sink in the best way possible. I've put hundreds of hours into this world, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. There's something so addictive about starting as a prisoner and slowly building up this massive organization, the Inquisition, to save the world of Thedas. The zones are absolutely stunning, from the lush forests of the hinterlands to the eerie storm coast. But what really keeps me coming back are the characters. BioWare is at its peak here with the companion banter. I've laughed out loud just listening to Varric and Iron Bull talk trash while we're exploring. The combat gives you that perfect balance of real-time action and tactical pause and play. You can really get deep into the theory crafting, setting up elemental combos between your mage and your warrior. And the dragons. Man, the high dragon fights in this game are some of the most intense boss moments I've ever experienced. They are actual endurance tests that require real strategy. Sure, it has a lot of fetch quests, but the lore is so rich and the romance options are so well written that you just get lost in it. It's a high fantasy epic that makes you feel like your choices actually matter, and that's a rare thing these days. Titanfall 2. Closing out this first batch, we have what I consider to be the most underrated shooter of all time, Titanfall 2. If you haven't played this campaign, what are you even doing? The movement system is pure perfection.
Wall running, sliding, and double jumping feel so natural that every other FPS feels slow and clunky after this. But the real heart of the game is the relationship between Jack Cooper and his Titan, BT-7274. I didn't think I could get emotional over a giant walking tank, but BT is one of my favorite characters in gaming. His dry, literal humor is just the best. The level design is mind-blowing. Each mission introduces a unique mechanic, like the time-traveling device in Effect and Cause, and then throws it away for something even cooler in the next stage. It's a masterclass in pacing. It never overstays its welcome and keeps you guessing until the very end. Calling down your Titan from orbit and feeling that massive impact as you step into the cockpit is a feeling you just don't get anywhere else. It's short, punchy, and absolutely brilliant. It's a crime that more people haven't played this masterpiece, so seriously, go give BT some love. Cyberpunk 2077. Man, I have to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. This game had one of the craziest journeys in history, but playing it now in 2026, it's a literal masterpiece. Night City is, without a doubt, the most beautiful and atmospheric urban environment ever built in a game. I've spent literal hours just riding my motorcycle through the neon-drenched streets of Japantown at 2 a.m., listening to the radio and just soaking in the cyberpunk vibes. The scale and the verticality of the city are just mind-blowing. You're not just playing a game, you're living in a futuristic dystopia that feels terrifyingly real. The story of V and Johnny Silverhand, played by the legend Keanu Reeves, is so personal and emotional. It's not just about saving the world, it's about saving your own soul. The gameplay gives you so much freedom. I personally love going for a Netrunner build, hacking into cameras and blowing up enemies' brains without even entering the room. But if you want to go full solo with a shotgun and gorilla arms, the combat feels punchy and violent. It's a game that asks deep questions about humanity while letting you be a total badass. If you walked away from it at launch, please go back. It's the definitive sci-fi experience of our generation. Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Next up is Shadow of War, and let me tell you, I am still obsessed with the Nemesis system. It's a crime that no other game has used this yet. This system creates these unique, personal stories with orc captains that remember you. I remember this one orc who killed me, got promoted, and then mocked me for it every time we met. It makes the world feel alive and reactive in a way that's totally addictive. You're not just fighting generic enemies, you're building a personal history of blood and vengeance. Leading your own army of brainwashed orcs to lay siege to a massive fortress is pure Lord of the Rings hype. The combat is that Arkham-style flow, smooth, fast, and incredibly brutal. I love the sheer variety of orcs you can find, from weirdly poetic bards to giant, terrifying ologs. It's a massive sandbox where you're basically the puppet master of Mordor. Sure, the story takes some wild liberties with Tolkien's lore, but the gameplay loop of recruit, betray, and conquer is so satisfying that you won't even care. It's a game that rewards you for being creative and honestly a bit of a tyrant. It's legendary fun. Now, if you want immersion, Metro Exodus is on a whole different level. It takes the claustrophobic survival of the previous games and opens it up into these massive, beautiful, and haunting sandbox levels across Russia. You're traveling on a train called the Aurora, and the sense of journey is so strong. I really felt like I was part of a family with Artyom and Anna. The atmosphere is just thick. You have to manually clean your gun, pump your flashlight, and check your map in real time. It's those small physical details that make you feel like you're actually struggling to survive in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. The way the world changes with the seasons, from the frozen ruins of winter to the scorching deserts of summer, is visually stunning. The combat is tense and weighty. Every bullet is precious, so you really have to think before you engage. I personally love the stealth. Sneaking through a camp of bandits during a lightning storm is pure adrenaline. It's a slow burn game that respects your patience. It's gritty, it's emotional, and it has one of the best vibes in any first-person shooter. It's a masterpiece of environmental storytelling that you absolutely need to experience. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Alright, let's talk about a game that is a dream come true for history buffs. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This is the ultimate peasant to knight simulator. You play as Henry of Skalitz, and the coolest thing is that you start as a total nobody who can't even read or hold a sword properly. The realism here is what makes it so addictive. You have to eat, sleep, and even wash your clothes because people will treat you differently if you're covered in blood and mud. It's that level of detail that makes the world of 15th century Bohemia feel completely tangible. The combat system is unique, it's directional and tactical, and man, it's a steep learning curve. But when you finally win your first duel, the feeling of accomplishment is better than in any other RPG. The sequel takes everything from the first game and dials it up to 11, bigger cities, more complex politics, and a story that feels way more epic. I've spent hours just practicing my archery or learning how to brew potions. It's a hardcore RPG that doesn't hold your hand, and that's why it's so rewarding. If you're tired of fantasy and want a real gritty and beautiful historical adventure, Henry's Journey is waiting for you. Sleeping Dogs, man, I will never stop shouting from the rooftops about how much I love Sleeping Dogs. It's easily the most underrated open-world game ever made. You're Wei Shen, an undercover cop infiltrating the triads in Hong Kong, and the story is basically a top-tier John Woo movie. The atmosphere is what gets me. The night markets, the neon signs reflecting in the rain, the smell of street food almost coming through the screen. It feels so much more alive than most massive maps today. I've spent way too much time just singing karaoke or betting on cockfights instead of actually doing my job. The combat is the real star here. It's heavily inspired by Batman Arkham, but with a much more brutal martial arts twist. Using a car door to crush a limb or shoving someone into a spinning exhaust fan, it's visceral as hell. The driving also has this arcade-like snap to it that makes high-speed chases through narrow alleys a total blast. I'm still heartbroken we never got a sequel because Wei Shen is such a complex, tortured character caught between two worlds. It's a game with a massive heart, a killer soundtrack, and a world I honestly never wanted to leave. Do yourself a favor and don't let this one stay a hidden gem in your library. Far Cry 4. Okay, everyone talks about the third one, but for me, Far Cry 4 is the peak of the series' polish. Setting the game in Kyrat in the Himalayas was a genius move. The verticality is insane. 1 minute you're wingsuiting off a snowy peak, and the next you're riding an elephant into a fortress, smashing through the front gate like a wrecking ball. The villain, Pagan Min, is just chef's kiss. He's flamboyant, terrifying, and strangely charming. He actually treats you like family while he's burning the country down. I found myself wanting to answer his radio calls just to hear what crazy thing he'd say next. The gameplay loop is pure Ubisoft gold at its best. Taking over outposts is so addictive because you have total freedom. You can go in quiet with a crossbow, or my personal favorite, attach C4 to a cow, scare it into the base, and watch the chaos unfold. The introduction of the Buzzer, that tiny helicopter, changed the game for me. It made exploration feel so liberated. Sure, the story of the Golden Path rebels is a bit meh, but the world of Kyrat is so beautiful and the chaos is so high quality that you won't care. It's the ultimate vacation with guns simulator. Infamous Second Son is still a benchmark for how good a game can look. Even years later, the particle effects when Delsin Rowe uses his powers are mind-blowing. When you dash through a vent as smoke or run up a skyscraper using neon light, it's pure eye candy. I remember just sitting on a rooftop in Seattle during a rainstorm, watching the neon signs reflect off Delsin's jacket. It's gorgeous.
Delsin himself is a bit of a rebellious punk, but his relationship with his brother Reggie actually brings a lot of heart to the story. The gameplay is all about speed and verticality. Each power set you unlock feels completely different. Neon makes you a sniper, while Video makes you feel like a digital ghost. It's a bit of a smaller open world, but I actually prefer that because it's not filled with boring filler content. The karma system is a bit black and white. You're either a saint or a total jerk, but seeing how the city and your powers change based on your choices is super satisfying. It's a fast-paced, flashy, and incredibly fun superhero sandbox that makes you feel powerful from the very first minute. It's the perfect game for a weekend binge.
Finally for this batch, we have the king of emergent gameplay, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Hideo Kojima basically gave us a giant military toy box and said, have fun. The stealth mechanics here are the best in the industry, period. The way the AI reacts to you is insane. If you always attack at night, they start wearing night vision goggles. If you keep doing headshots, they start wearing helmets. It forces you to constantly change your strategy. I've spent hundreds of hours just kidnapping soldiers with the Fulton balloons to build up my mother base. Even though the story feels a bit unfinished toward the end, the moment-to-moment gameplay is 10 out of 10. Whether you're sneaking into a base with your dog, D-Dog is the best boy, or calling in an airstrike while riding a horse, the controls are buttery smooth. I love the freedom of infiltration. You can spend 40 minutes crawling through the grass or just drive a tank through the front door. It's a tactical masterpiece that respects your intelligence as a player. It's the kind of game where you go in for one mission and end up playing until 4 a.m. because you just had to upgrade your sniper rifle. It's essential.
Ryse, Son of Rome. Man, talk about a game that was way ahead of its time. When Ryse, Son of Rome first came out, people called it a tech demo, but if you play it today, you'll realize it's actually one of the most cinematic action games ever made. You play as Marius Titus, and the journey from a soldier to a leader in the Roman legion is just wow. The graphics are still some of the best I've ever seen. The way the sun reflects off your armor and the mud splatters during a rainy battle in Britannia is insane. It feels like you're playing inside an R-rated historical epic like Gladiator. The combat is all about rhythm and timing. Some people say it's simple because of the quick time events, but when you're in the flow, executing a perfect parry and then doing a brutal execution on a barbarian, it feels incredibly satisfying and heavy. I love the Legion segments where you command your men to form a turtle shell with their shields to advance against archers. It makes you feel like a true commander. It's a short, punchy experience that doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's perfect for a weekend where you just want to feel like a total badass in sandals. If you love history and high-quality gore, you need this in your life. Just Cause 3, if you're having a bad day and just want to blow stuff up, Just Cause 3 is the ultimate therapy. This game doesn't care about realism, and that's why it's perfect. Rico Rodriguez is basically a human, physics-defying god. The wingsuit and the grappling hook are the stars here. I've spent hours just flying through the Mediterranean island of Medici, never touching the ground. The movement is so fluid that once it clicks, you feel like a bird with a rocket launcher. It's just pure, unadulterated joy. The destruction engine is the best in the business. Seeing a massive gas station or a giant satellite dish collapse in a chain reaction of explosions is something I never get tired of. I personally love the tether mechanic, connecting a soldier to a gas canister and then shooting the canister to send him into orbit is the kind of silly fun that modern games take too seriously. Sure, the story's a cheesy overthrow the dictator plot and the voice acting is over the top, but that's the point. It's an interactive Michael Bay movie where you are the director of chaos. It's colorful, it's loud, and it's one of the most addictive sandboxes ever created. Mad Max. Finally, we're ending with the most underrated gem on this entire list, Mad Max. This game came out on the same day as Metal Gear Solid 5, and it got totally ignored, which is a tragedy.
This is the best car combat game ever made, period. Building your car, the magnum opus, from a scrap heap into a spiked, nitro-burning beast is so rewarding. I remember the first time a massive sandstorm rolled in while I was being chased by a war party. The lightning, the flying debris, and the roar of the V8 engine. It was one of the most immersive moments I've ever had in a game. The wasteland is surprisingly beautiful for a desert, with those deep orange sunsets and rusted industrial ruins. The hand-to-hand combat is heavy and dirty, similar to the Arkham games, but way more brutal. But the real hook is the harpoon on your car. Ripping the door off an enemy vehicle or pulling a sniper tower down while driving 100 miles per hour is just chef's kiss. It captures the soul of the movies perfectly. It's a game about survival, gasoline, and scrap, and it has a gritty atmosphere that sticks with you. If you missed this one back in 2015, do yourself a favor and go play it. It's a gasoline-soaked masterpiece. And that's our list, guys. 15 amazing games that are worth every second of your time. But I want to know, which of these is your must-play? Is there a game on this list that changed your life? Or maybe one I missed that you're addicted to right now? Drop a comment below and let's talk games.